Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Generally Casual. I'm one of your co-hosts, Michael, and joined with me today is Richard and Corey.
Wait, yet again, don't get to say anything.
Nope.
I don't like it.
No, I actually like it. It's streamlined. We get back into the point and less people talk at the start. And
We're all talking right now because of him.
Yeah,
Because of Michaal.
but it was a choice.
You always talk because of me.
I'm being
always
super
talking.
aggressive now.
Yeah, well, hey, that has to do with our special... Wait, no. We are welcoming today a new special guest. He is of relation to us by his lovely looks and his delicate tones and his sweet demeanor. His name is Colin. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you. Hello.
Yes.
In studio.
In relation to what?
Yeah, I don't know what that description was.
It was something I made up on the spot.
Okay, cool.
How'd you like it?
It covered the basis. It's not untrue.
Next time I'll make up lies about you.
Yeah.
He is 17 feet tall. He has
True.
7 arms, and he is the color red.
Yeah.
And his teeth are the size of buses.
Related to the goddess Shiva.
That's
Yep.
true.
That explains the forearms.
Yeah.
And the big forearms. And speaking of big forearms, our topic today is...
It's nothing to do with that.
Flawless transition.
I mean,
Flawless, always.
Some people might really be into those big forearms.
That's
So,
true.
You know, that is
I mean,
technically...
fisting.
Wow, we go straight in
Straight
there.
into it.
Straight
let's
in.
just rip the
Just like the fist.
let's
It
just
goes straight
rip the
in.
Band-Aid off.
Wow,
This is going
okay.
to be
Hey.
an episode of Depravity.
Yeah,
All right.
it is.
So, if you haven't figured out by now and your ears weren't adequately prepared, this episode is going to be more on the
Adult side.
Adult side, yes.
Yes.
Sensitive side.
Yes, let me
Adult
give you
side.
a precursor to everything that we're going to talk about. Well, we're going to talk about kinks, and remember, you are a nasty, disgusting human. And being a nasty, disgusting human, you come with gross things that enter and go around your body, including thoughts and fluids. And so, talking about those things, we're going to explore the deep, dark world of the strangest kinks that we know about. Richard and Corey might not be sharing as much.
Nope.
But Corey, I looked.
You do this
It's the
all
C
the
name.
time.
I did it again. Oh no! I used to do this on Discord all the time. It's the C names. So Colin and Michael, that's me. We're gonna be sharing a lot of those strange things that I have read about or that we know. So
Yeah,
remember, we're humans. We're gross.
Yes.
And today we'll prove it. So I wanted to start off with Richard, who's going to tell us the 2 definitions of kink.
I'm wearing my definition pants today.
You're not
Shorts.
Oh, okay.
Shorts.
I was like, you're not wearing pants.
So there is 2 definitions for kink.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
A sharp twist or curve in something that is otherwise straight, which actually kind of lends itself to the other
Yeah.
definition, which is a person's unusual sexual preference.
And notice how they're very nice about that definition. They're not calling it strange or weird or like gross. They're saying unusual. Because, to be honest, if it's not vanilla, it's unusual.
Yeah, and I want to introduce it too because Michael, Richard, and I have had a kind of soft discussion on like how fetish and kink are kind of used interchangeably, but there is actually a technical definition for that, and technically fetish is considered to be a kink because fetishes are attractions to inanimate objects. So it can include body parts such as feet, that's the common foot fetish, or even objects. Like some people can be attracted to the Eiffel Tower. So technically
These are very
fetishes
phallic objects.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I researched.
That's so weird. I mean, that's so out there. We don't want to use weird too much this episode.
Unusual.
Yeah,
Use what
unusual.
the definition is.
Yes. But yeah, so technically a fetish is a kink.
Yeah. And to explore this more, I found another little definition that explores the idea of kink. I think I pulled it directly off of Wikipedia. Haha, I'm so smart. Yeah. So in human sexuality, kinkiness is the use of non-conventional sexual practices concepts, or fantasies. The term derives from the idea of bend in one sexual behavior to contrast such behavior with vanilla sexual practices. So it uses the term of kink, which is sharp twist or curve in something otherwise straight, to be like, well, they had a quotation there at quote unquote straight, but they're not talking about sexually straight, like being attracted to just the opposite gender. They're talking about literally like, this is what is quote unquote the usual sexual practices, and then these are the off the straight line sexual practices. So the bend.
And you can kind of see how some of the definitions of normalcy are based around more old world values. So like when psychology was more starting to rear its head and people were learning about the human psyche, there were different values going around in human society. There wasn't as much freedom in thought and sexual preference and productivity, or
if you will. We have the church's definition of sexual normalness, and then we have everybody else in the world who are just like, oh, I could put things in that hole or that wall, or look at Eiffel Tower. Look at that.
Greek.
Yep.
Boy, I missed those ancient Greeks.
Yep. And one could almost say it was them who really started us down the path of wonderfulness.
True.
Greeks and Romans, they kind of did all sorts of different stuff.
So for the people that don't know about the dark hole of history, so to speak, Colin, did you want to expand on that a little bit? Give a little background for.
I would say I'm an expert on the history of Roman and Greek, but I do know.
Hey, that's okay.
But do
our
you know
name is
enough?
Casuals. Are you
Okay.
casually acquainted with that information?
I am aware that they loved their orgies.
Yes.
They also were very bisexual. They didn't care. A hole's a hole. They were very. If it felt good, do it.
Yeah.
So,
I think my favorite one
There you go.
is from Spartacus. There was a Spartacus episode that was like a guy is having sex with his wife, and then he's like, "Oh boy, come in here," and then a boy comes and helps him finish by
Helping.
by helping through the butt. Yeah,
a lot of underage wards.
Yes.
Doing things. Warriors training naked, and then your guy laying across like a bench eating grapes, watching. You know.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was also another favorite pastime of richer men and women, was partaking of the gladiators in other ways than they normally do, not just watching.
And I think Colin just described the original cuckold.
More
A
or
person
less.
who lays there naked eating the grapes. Oh, the decadence.
I mean, that sex looks like a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I can't be bothered. I'm just going to lay here and watch.
Yeah.
You do that.
I'm just going to feel aroused because that's all I need today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, weirdly, watching people do something is kind of the start of my first topic. And unless you want to see this, please do not Google this because I accidentally switched over to images and my eyes were widened. So, I've got a couple, but the one I really researched because I thought it was interesting was fornophilia.
Pornophilia.
Yeah, fornophilia. Can you guess what that is, Corey, without looking at my notes?
I'm trying not to look there, but porn is definitely a word for something.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
And
And
it may
philia
have
is-
Been Latin, maybe at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Usually with the ending philia, usually it means it's Latin oriented.
Is it like chair attraction or something weird like
You're
that?
absolutely correct, because fern means furniture, and philia means I like that. So, fornophilia is about human furniture, and I was talking about that. This is like the original art piece almost of like human art.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they would bind people in certain positions and have them basically be furniture in front of people as an art display.
Okay. So it's not the same thing as like having like a giant hand chair.
No.
Okay.
This is actual people being actual furniture.
No one's got hands that big, Richard.
Yeah.
That's
No,
ridiculous.
that's like a big 80s thing to have like body parts as furniture, but
Ma-
not real body parts, like giant enlarged versions of body parts.
Maybe that's another
That's a different kink.
kink
Richard.
altogether.
I mean,
Well, that's what I was asking.
I mean, maybe real body parts. It was the 80s. Everyone was on cocaine.
That's true.
you know, maybe they observed that those were bigger than they should be. Japan knows all about that. So this is the kink side. So not just about art. This is that people enjoy seeing people in that way. So you might have seen, like maybe there's a dom and there's sub. I think is the words there.
Yes,
Dominatrix and there's submissive.
Dominant and submissive.
Dominant and submissive. And basically, you would have the dominant who would tie up the submissive, and they would tie them into a chair, and then they would sit on them. And that would give pleasure to both people.
Got it.
So, in this instance, they can be tied up and bound into any furniture and used that way. So, an example of, like, they could be a footstool, a chair, a table, a cabinet, any way like that. And this would also be like a twofer. It would be modern art, or it'd be, sexual in nature, because it would be at home and nobody would be looking at it. So this is the strange part. The unusual part is that the person is tied and they're also bound and gagged. So they cannot speak. They are essentially just a piece of furniture. And the pleasure, from what I've read, I have not experienced this, from what I've read is that they gain pleasure from being used in the way that furniture would be used.
That's kind of the point of what a submissive is.
Yes.
They enjoy being dominated.
Exactly.
In that fashion.
Now, the dangerous part is that the person who is the dom, or the person who's using somebody else in the furniture-like manner, has to go and check on this person constantly, because they could be bound and gagged for hours and not used during the whole time. So it's just this suspenseful waiting game until they are used for what they need, what they're supposed to be used for.
And I feel like maybe now is a good part of the episode to briefly mention something that's very important in this end of the world.
It starts with a C.
Consent and safe words and stuff like that. Safety practices. So
yeah, and that's actually the part of the problem, is that since they're gagged, they can't make any noise. So the person and
Pucker
it is
your butthole twice.
Yes. It is highly recommended that whoever is the dom, or both people participating in this, the person is checked up on regularly to make sure that they're still okay and not dying randomly through this. So as said, consent. Make sure that there are safety measures in place, so that way if the person really needs to get out, they can get out. But it was a very interesting thing to read about, because it was like, again, if you do look up pictures of this, it's very interesting. You'll see a lot of naked people, but the biggest thing is that you'll just see people tied up and like into tables, into chairs, and just someone sitting on them.
Positions.
Yes. It doesn't even have to be someone who's like bound in leather like the stereotypical dom is. It's, just a person sitting on some naked lady who's just as a chair. And it was weird when I was researching this, because it was almost highly sexualized in the fact that a man would do this to a woman. Because, like, the woman would gain pleasure out of being used. And it had a lot of, like, not sexual in that way, but, like, sexist overtones. But I'm also like, well, that's also sometimes a sexual kink of people to be used, like, in the worst way possible, right?
Well, I was going to say it actually covers a couple different kinks, too. The bondage aspect is a kink on its own. The dom sub is a kink on its own. So you kind of combine a lot into this one, especially because any sub then can be positioned in certain ways. There's just so many ways to kind of get a little bit more out of this if it's a specific kink.
Yeah.
You can also kind of see too how maybe the amount of photos that you saw that were male dom and then female sub was because maybe the whole power fantasy of it all is more attractive to males as a whole. But you can also see how the power fantasy and flipping the script, so to speak, and like how that could be appealing to women as well, because it would be very empowering.
Yeah, most of that, the male to female thing, was in the description of someone who's describing this.
Got it.
So as the person who actually came up with the term pornophilia, that person was describing like that. It was like, the males like to do it because they get a sense of power, and because they're giving women like usefulness to the. And then the other descriptions I saw were just like straight descriptions. They were like, no, it's when people tie up other people into furniture.
A little more modern.
Yeah, and if you look up the Wikipedia page on it, it's like it just shows male and female versions. Yeah. So there's like women sitting on men, there's men sitting on women, and then it's kind of crazy how deep this goes.
Yeah, I think there are definitely subs and doms of both genders.
Yeah,
but I've also seen plenty of examples of like the bondage look being used as more of like an art form, and not just for sexual. Like I've seen like there's whole Instagrams and stuff of just like not even naked women, but they're tied up and they took like very nice like high res photos of them in certain positions with like very specific types of knots.
Yeah,
and these guys nerd out about their knots too.
Oh yeah. The bondage aspect is massive, and like just in. Even if it's not in furniture, just shaping like, body in certain ways with specific knots to create that art piece.
These guys would make such good fishermen.
Yeah, yeah.
Just out there.
Sailors.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually what's crazy is I saw a couple pictures of people not bound up, but it was almost like a gymnastics thing. Or like a yoga thing where like
they were like super flexible.
Yeah, they were super like a lady's leg was going straight up and holding like a light bulb that was like on, and then like her body was contorted in a way that she looked like a lamp. Wow. And I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but it looks cool. Like that's kind of crazy they could do that, and the fact that it's probably like, hey, hold that position for an hour. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. I'll come turn on the light later. Yeah, so it was quite an interesting dive down. I did not really research it, but I also looked up the it's called object sexualism, which is when people are sexually attracted or aroused by objects, like the Eiffel Tower you were mentioning. I did not dive too deep, but I do know there's a website that collects a community of people who would like to discuss to other people about it. Yeah, like it's a global website.
Something for everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and then apparently, Colin, you mentioned that there's like a lot of art form when it comes to like tying people up and stuff. And I just looked it up, and apparently obviously the Japanese have a word for it, but I know they have a specific style, and that's kimbaku. And then apparently, I think it was kimbaku B or kimbaku bu is like the beauty of tying people up. Yeah. So there's like it's interesting to see that there's a word specifically for the thing, and then also the appreciation of that thing. Like it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure they have whole conventions about this stuff.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
What I actually wanted to go over, since we've used the word now multiple times, is kind of a little bit more on the basics of dom versus sub as well. So. Something to keep in mind, which I actually more recently learned about this from my wife, is there are different types of doms. It's not just a stereotypical relationship of the dom comes in and punishes when the sub is being not in a sub role or other things like that. And actually, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring this up, as we'll go over at the end of the episode,
I was just about to say, the quiz teaches us about that.
Yeah, we all took a quiz. And it was called the what sexual deviant are you? I think is what the quiz was called. We'll probably post a link for it in the description.
All of them.
It's very long.
There was a word that I was unfamiliar with that actually has to do with dom versus sub, and it's called brat tamer. And the first time I took this quiz with my wife, I actually got like 30% on that. And basically what it means is it's a dominant who enjoys handling bratty submissives, which means that the submissive tends to be a little bit more aggressive or like fighty,
rebellious.
Feisty. Yeah, rebellious.
I got an 81% on that one.
So I thought that was really interesting. But there are also positive doms and positive subs as well. Yeah. To the point of which. It's similar, not exactly the same because it ends up being sexual gratification. But if you think about what a life coach does, someone who encourages you to get better at doing things or making your life better, and then you get sexual gratification from that.
Yeah, either
As-
they're
as
positive
the-
or negative.
Yeah, the dom would end up being the coach themselves, and the sub would be the one who is getting the benefit out of it.
Bang better. You can do it.
Well, and that's the thing is they can have a punishing relationship as part of that as well, but there is also the rewarding relationship, which is something that I found very interesting. That through the history of what most people think of dom and sub, it's like you didn't do what I say, now you're punished.
Yeah.
It's both, which is insane.
Yeah. I mean, you know what else is interesting? Things Colin has to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess
Straight into
we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah. I think it's time to get right into it because we're teasing our quiz. So we got some. These are things that you might not know about, but they certainly are fun to talk about.
I just want to
They
point out
certainly
real quick
exist.
that is one heck of a euphemism, or sounds like a euphemism, is teasing our quiz. Like, what does it mean? Colin, go away.
Okay.
No pressure.
All right. So let me ask you all a question. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to have an alien lay its eggs inside of you and then have yourself lay said eggs out your butt?
Never.
No? Not once?
Never crossed
You
my
know
mind.
what?
Michael?
Not today.
Not today?
No.
You're thinking about it right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
All right. So
That's
this is a fetish. There's it's called an OV fetish, but it's
got it.
also got a street name, splorching, which I think is much more fitting name
Oh,
for
it-
the kind of thing.
That
I've
sounds
heard
like
of
a
that
kink and
before
not the
then,
scientific term.
Yes. So,
Excuse me. We are going to go into.
So now we're going to talk about splorching, which is it requires a lot of equipment or one specific thing, an ovipositor, which is a specific type of dildo that you put inside yourself. You fill it with these eggs that are made of gelatin and proprietary goo, and you insert the ovipositor into yourself, lay the eggs, and then at your own leisure, pop them back out.
Oh,
I
boy.
see.
Can I bring you to my next book club meeting?
Yes.
You could sell this really well.
I am trying to not swear and be
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I very much appreciate that.
I like the actually thinking of being more professional and not swearing. You add a lot of tension to the dialogue. Like you're allowing the imagery to form. It's kind of like I don't want it to be there, but it's there now, and
Oh,
it's
it's
very
there.
vivid.
I was gonna say the one word that popped out to me was proprietary. There's one company that makes these.
Oh, I will tell you, because because the ovipositor is patented.
Wow!
And it's by Primal Hardware.
Wow!
This episode is sponsored by Primal Hardware.
Hey, if we get a sponsorship
Day.
out of this, I'm
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
Wow!
And unfortunately, now I just have in my mind you also using the word proprietary.
Piratery.
That you get the popping sensation from
Oh,
saying that word.
proprietary.
That's what I imagine.
That's
it
not
would be
what
like.
Pop the little
Yeah.
eggs out.
Yeah.
But,
that-
so do they like? Is that like the size and it's that, or is it like they swell? Like,
Why? Why?
I mean,
I mean,
these are
if
questions
it's-
people have.
If it's in this little thing, like, and
it's,
people are wondering,
oh, it's
like,
not little.
oh, it's not. Oh, boy.
It's like it looks like an alien member,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
and
Phallic.
a phallic alien member does not look human. It has like a weird
peep-peep.
split end,
Okay.
and it's definitely a hefty size dildo.
Is,
Alright.
is this the same company that sells the dragon ones?
That is Bad Dragon.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
is-
so
that
not
is an entirely different company.
definitely.
And
They're
they-
proprietary on their stuff.
They have proprietary fake cum
Yes.
because they have. Is cum okay? Can I say cum?
Is now.
Well,
It is now.
It is fine
All
now.
right.
We're about 25 minutes in. It's fine.
Okay.
We gave the warning at the beginning.
If
So.
someone made it 25 minutes in, I think they're allowed to
Yeah.
use
Yes,
that.
They have a lot of dildos that shoot cum, fake cum. So if you ever wanted to like get covered in a hentai-sized load,
Yeah.
that would be the way to do it. Because that also brings me to the other topic I was going to talk about was slime wave.
Oh. Okay.
Which-
This is my favorite thing to talk to Colin about.
So slime wave is a fetish that I blame Nickelodeon for.
They just ruined an entire generation of children.
But
I think I see where this is going.
it is what it sounds like. It's people getting cummed on by an insane amount of fake cum or slime, because no one can cum this much. But if they could, they would, and it would look a little something like this. Front screen? No, I'm just kidding.
We don't have the green screen yet, Colin.
Okay.
We don't need the green
I do have a particular man I want to thank for this. I don't know his name.
But he is a man.
But he's a man. He's got you can Google this if you wish. It's it's a Japanese man.
Not safe for work.
The video is called Bucket Loads of Bukkake Mako Oda.
Okay.
And this is a man who brings fine young women into his establishment. And when he pulls his pants down, you see that he's got 2 basketball-sized nuts.
Wow.
They're not real. In case I just want to clarify.
Wow, you just ruined the story there. With
I don't want to break the illusion.
Okay.
But his whole bit is that he then has sex with the ladies, and then when it's time, he starts coming on them, and then he just doesn't stop.
Oh.
And they they
hours.
He just comes on them for like the next 20 minutes, and
Wow.
it's like a hose, and he just they try to get away, he won't let them.
Well, I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're slipping and sliding all over the place at that
It's gonna
point.
be really fun making the profile picture of this. I feel like I'm gonna throw in some Nickelodeon slime, and
That is 100% positive.
and I'm just gonna put it on all of our heads.
No. You could have just put it in the corner, like you do normally.
So I want to give that man his due credit, so you can look that video up at your own discretion.
I mean, definitely.
It's hard to look away.
I'm sorry, that's not going to be posted in the link. The link will not be posted in the description for this one.
Google. Use your power of Google.
Yeah,
gotta search that one.
Yeah, you gotta search that one yourself.
Well, that really reminds me, your first one, splorching.
Splorching.
Yeah, it reminds me of something else I've read. It's called what was it? Yoni egg. So a yoni egg is, I would assume, a Pokeball-sized egg that is inserted into your ovum, and you just hold it there.
Oh.
And then at some point, you push it back out. And this is the strange thing, is I saw both it's a sexual arousal thing and an exercise tool.
Okay. That makes sense.
Similar to Kegels.
It's like a Kegel.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a medicine ball, but for your hoo-ha.
Yeah, for your hoo-ha, exactly. Yeah. Or your bottom. I mean, I would not recommend you put in your bottom, but it could be. Now that's what was interesting to me. I'm like, so splorching is like they're littler or smaller eggs,
yeah,
right?
because you get I think more like baseball sized, and you get a bunch of them in there. I think the game is how many can you fit.
Okay.
A regular Poe from Kung Fu Panda style game. Yeah. I understand.
How many rice balls can you get into the valley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so where do we go from here? Like, I feel like...
Well, I wanted to end our specific kink conversation with a funny little story I found on Quora.com. So, like Quora.com and anything of where you ask questions of people, Yahoo answers. This might or might not be true, but I would love it to be true.
It's all right.
So,
Jeeves has never let us down. So.
Let me read you a story. Probably the most unusual kink anyone ever personally told this person was a man who told me his girlfriend likes to be pelted with frozen fruit.
Ouch.
They go out in the backyard naked, him with a slingshot and a bag of frozen fruit, and her wearing nothing but safety goggles, at his insistence. She gets off on the feeling of hard frozen fruit bruising her skin, and as the fruit begins to thaw, it gets mushy and slimy and gross, which she also likes because then she's aroused by the dirtiness of it. She seems to also be strongly aroused by anything considered socially deviant, so she's partly getting off on the uniqueness of the kink.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, what I find interesting about this whole thing, though, in general, is that it kind of really does, like she does, embraces the whole, like, different uniqueness of people. And that's kind of like... This whole thing is being like, you're just finding another avenue that you can connect with someone potentially with. Mm-hmm. So I feel like to give a more wholesome rounding out to not so wholesome topic. I mean, it's just interesting to see as we'll go on to see in the quiz results
Yeah.
from
like what
someone
they
who's
like.
not as well traveled, so
I've-
to speak.
I won't say any names, but I've been told about a woman who liked to get completely cocooned in plastic wrap, like nothing but a hole for her mouth, so she can breathe,
so she can breathe, of course.
Oh,
and then she would just
Breathing is
get,
good.
fornicated.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
See, that would terrify
but that
me.
was her bit.
Wow.
It's like
loved
the
it.
opposite of claustrophobia.
I-
You
Maybe
could
that's.
see everything, but still be
You know what?
like, cramped.
I don't know why.
Can you
but
see through that much plastic wrap?
I
I don't know.
Can you
let's-
see
let's
without your glasses?
Let's find out.
You know, we don't know.
No.
Maybe it's like before and after LASIK. 20 things of plastic wrap over your face, and then you
Just
get
all blurry.
yeah. Weirdly, that reminds me of one time we put special guest Johnny and we wrapped him with rainbow colored. Rainbow
to
colored.
go back to wholesome.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna turn that into a kink now. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe instead of plastic wrap, you wrap yourself in rainbow confetti.
Yeah.
You never know.
Just like
Rainbow-
streamers.
Yeah,
Oh,
rainbow streamers. There we go. That's the
I was
word
like,
for
how
it.
do you wrap yourself in confetti? Like
No.
that
I
sounds
was
That's
about
a
to ask
kink.
that question. You roll in glue first.
Yeah. You're a smart man.
You turn yourself into a flaming hot Cheeto.
So,
Exactly.
if you've ever sat and listened to our podcast, or you know Colin personally, and you have ever wondered about how sexually deviant are we, well, we're here to tell you about it. And let me tell you, some of our results might not be surprising, and some of them might be very surprising.
possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had my previous quiz that I took with my wife because I think that was a little better than this one. But
Oh, this one's lame.
I am blessed
It
with
is.
2 results. One that I took at the beginning of the pandemic, and then one I took the other day. So
You know what? And it just
We're gonna
shows
see
that
how I
humans
changed.
evolve. Yeah. Well, Corey, did you want to start with your results?
Sure, and then maybe you can explain some of the results because
Yeah,
some of
happily.
the things I'm not familiar with.
happily explain all of it for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Corey's a
Alright.
primal
So-
boy-girl slave. Wow.
To what?
oh,
Jeez. To the surprise of absolutely no one, at 100%, I have vanilla.
Corey's boring.
You're vanilla.
I like to think I'm like vanilla with cayenne pepper. Like I'm a little spicy vanilla.
You're literally 100% vanilla, though.
No, but then I have 55% submissive apparently.
Oh.
49% switch. Whatever. So that what
so
does
switch
that mean?
means that
You'd
you
go back and forth.
that you're open to being dominated or submissive. So you
Yeah,
kind of jump
yeah.
back and forth.
Okay.
You're down
You
to
could
play
be
whatever
either
game.
position, which makes sense because you just said you're 55% submissive, so
Yeah.
it means the other 45% would be
Well,
potentially dominant.
I'm assuming it's weird though because like it has the 100% vanilla, but then I guess that 100% vanilla is just the result of all these other percentages because
the 100%
No.
vanilla means that is what you most prefer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
if you were to pick anything out of this list, you would pick vanilla
vanilla.
every time.
Just,
and then
just some good old God-fearing missionary.
Yeah.
Lights off.
If she's not facing me, I'm not facing her.
I was gonna say you're so vanilla that you'd go 2 separate beds, 50 style, with each having their own lamp.
oh man, I'm not American.
A cloth with a hole in
Yeah,
it.
what was, yeah, about to say like, what was that movie? Oh, that doesn't matter.
But after that, I have 36% dominant, 31% experimentalist,
Okay.
26% rigger.
A
Also-
rigger is the person who rigs
Oh.
up someone in bondage. So like,
Okay.
especially in things like sex swings or like you gotta rig them up, and then they're just there, and then you're in
That-
control.
You gotta.
By the way-
Sounds like you gotta have a lot of like lube ready to go.
You gotta have a lot of
This
knowledge
is
for
why
a
we
lot
brought
of
Colin.
things.
This is why we
You
brought
need-
Colin on.
Yeah.
You need a specific like room probably to fit your sex swing. You need to know how to rig it up. You need to know how to tie these knots correctly.
You can't do this outside.
I mean,
Boy Scouts.
actually, if you're a voyeur, you could.
Oh boy.
Yeah. By the way, did
Yeah.
we want to stop after 20%, or do we want to read the whole list?
Oh no, we can stop after like the top 5 or 6.
Okay.
'cause in reality, the rest then gets down to like
You probably
like,
not
I'll,
do it.
I'll
Yeah.
just like read my green ones because they change color.
Yeah,
you
that's-
have a couple
that's a good point.
green and yellow
I'm gonna
ones.
bring-
I'm
I'm
guessing.
I
gonna-
have
I'm
it's
gonna
like
read green to
5.
orange.
I have like 5 green ones on this one.
See, that's why I'm disappointed by this quiz because it has me at such low ratings because I speedily took the quiz.
Well, that's
Because I
actually-
remember a couple of the percentages from
So
the last one.
it sounds like Corey's open to being vanilla and having quote unquote normal quote unquote, uninteresting sex. And then he's also open to being like, well, if I would categorize it like this. He's open to somebody else taking control or himself controlling the acts.
If you know what you like, we're willing to work with you. But I already know kind of like what's good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What's good?
What's good?
Oh, it's
For you, Corey.
Yeah,
What's
and this
good
is nice
for
to
you?
know.
Yeah.
Would you say that your test is accurate?
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm like 60% confident in that response.
Well, why don't we just circle around the room?
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say,
since
that's 5% more than you are submissive.
you listening, you don't know that we're sitting in a square. So the next person in line would be Colin.
Okay. So I actually have 2 test results. I'll read the ones I took the other day.
Yeah.
As this is where I'm at right now. Mentally.
Yeah.
I got 93% switch.
Ooh.
So I'm just down to play.
Yeah.
I'm like a flex in Overwatch.
You're down
I
to
don't
clown.
care what role, just put me in the game.
I'll support you. I'll be the tank, or I'll deal you the damage.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I got you.
Okay.
And 92% dominant. Then 81% brat tamer.
There you go.
And 75% submissive. And 75% experimentalist. Those are my top 5.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
And 63 exhibitionist, so I like being watched.
Yeah. That's interesting because I like that I just like the word brat.
Yeah.
Even though it's not high on my list, but I like that you're like, I feel like, did he work in a retail job for too long or in food that he's just like, I want to tell someone who's being bratted to me and I just want to show them everything that's wrong
Well,
with that.
you get I guess a sensation from taming said brat.
Yeah.
Like punishing them.
Yeah.
I think a common way this is done is that there are certain vibrators that are controlled via cell phone.
Yeah.
And the brat tamer will have that in their companion, and usually in public they'll walk around with it in there, and whenever she starts acting out of line, you turn it up and punish her.
Talking
In
bad to
public.
your
That is a
waiter.
thing.
And she's got to act like she's not.
Yeah.
Been in a couple movies that exact situation.
Does this sound fun to all of you?
What movies have you been watching? I've
I mean-
never seen that in a movie.
No, they're literally it's in a romantic
See,
comedy.
it sounds like something I would want to try. Beep, and then right over that answer.
Yeah.
He put his hand in front of the mic. It's not heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
I did it.
He didn't put his hand in front of the mic that time.
Yeah.
So who knows who could
Yeah.
have said that?
Oh well.
Yeah. Well,
It's
let's hear
fun.
your old answers too.
My old answers.
Yeah.
All right. So this is back in November. So I'm 100% rigor
Oh,
in this
okay.
one.
Ooh.
So and 100% rigor, 99% experimentalist, and a 98% sadist.
Oh, okay.
So I was in a very different headspace back then.
Yeah. Apparently.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, COVID's made you more friendly. You're like
I
more ready
suppose.
to go.
I suppose so.
I mean, the dominant is still there. Like
Yeah.
that's still in his thing, but he's not so aggressive now.
No, but is in that flex role now.
So, Colin, can you explain what sadist is?
The sadists are usually paired with what's the word I'm thinking of?
Masochist.
Masochists.
Yes.
Yes. So the masochists like being punished, hurt, spanked, and
Pain.
In pain.
like being in pain.
Versus
So
the
the
sadist
sadist is the one that causes the pain.
causes the pain.
And I think I got that answer because I like spanking butts.
Aha.
So
I like how PG that sounds compared to the word masochist and sadist.
Yeah.
I'm a sadist.
Sound very harsh.
I shall
versus-
make you bleed for Satan.
Yeah, because then 90% I have master, and then 89% I have owner, and I don't like that because I'm very white, and so I want to get away
Oh,
from it.
boy.
So I'm glad I got away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good.
And then 86% degrader. So yeah,
And this is the old quiz.
this is the old.
Yeah.
quiz.
Also, a lot of your percentages were a lot higher than they are now.
But
Well, I was gonna say it sounds like you've actually balanced out a lot more by
Yeah.
comparison to back in November. It seemed like you're in a dominating type of mood before, or trying new things. Versus now you're like, I've tried some things and I'm ready to kind of balance out and kind of take what comes to me.
and it is possible because that my answers were skewed because I was asked by a woman to take this quiz. And I probably just wanted to impress her.
Yeah. There you go.
Did you know her sexual preferences at that point?
No.
Okay. Okay. That might make sense. And now this time you took it unbiasedly on your own.
Yeah.
So you could see your own.
I was trying to.
preferences.
Yeah. I think I was just trying to flex.
Yeah. Ooh, I like
think,
pain.
I think the funny one in here though is I'm 75% pet.
Which is interesting thrown
That
in the
matches-
midst of all
yeah,
the other
it
things.
does-
But that does
fit.
match your new test where you said like your highest one or one of the highest one is a switch, right?
Yeah, but I'm a 7% pet on my new quiz.
Whoa.
Which is actually technically beneficial towards your higher percentages too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the switch aspect would mean that the pet would go way down
We
technically.
learned a lot about ourselves today.
Aren't we?
I think a bad recommendation, but also great recommendation. Take this once a year, and
Yeah.
go
a
figure
gauge.
out about yourself. Yeah, it's called.
Always take the long quiz.
It's just bdsmtest.org. So the .org tells you it's up and up.
Some people have their astrological signs to figure out who they are. We have this quiz.
Yeah, put this quiz on your dating profile. It'll probably help a lot of people.
Oh my God.
I've
Michael.
actually no. I've actually seen people with this exact screenshot we're all looking at on their Tinders and Bumble.
Really?
Oh, I mean, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Just displaying their answers. Like, this is what I'm into.
yeah, I mean, and as long as they match with their answers.
I was going to say the accuracy would.
Yeah, if they think it's accurate, and that's why I'm kind of curious if you think it's accurate.
I would think my second one's probably more accurate than my one back in the November.
Yeah, especially the word owner in that first one.
Which is funny
Yeah.
because that's why, like, when I just took it like a little bit ago, I don't think this is as accurate as when I took it with my wife.
Mine could be accurate, so let me get into mine. I don't have 100% on anything. My highest is 70%. My highest is experimentalist, and then followed quickly by vanilla. So let me just get into the rest of them. Then I have 62% switch, 53% voyeur, and then we started going down into 36% rigor and primal hunter and
Oh, yeah.
submissive dominant. They're all like orange and then 30%.
I really had you pegged as a rope bunny.
Hey, I don't want to be tied up.
So that actually brings
Wait,
up one
where's-
that we haven't gone over
Rope bunny
before
is
as well.
24% for me.
Yeah.
Primal. You got primal. What was your higher? Primal
Primal was 31%.
and
Hunter.
Hunter. Okay,
Yes.
so there's a hunter versus prey relationship. It's similar to dom versus
prey.
sub, but specifically it's like a hunting aspect.
I'll hunt somebody. I'm open to that.
Well, clearly your hunter out did your prey.
Yeah, but my
You don't want to be hunted.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly accurate because as all of mine, the only one I have 0% on is boy, girl, and primal. Prey. I'm just that boy girl stuff. Maybe it's because I'm a teacher. I'm just not in like that's that's nowhere even close to it. That's a turn off. Get away from me, please.
Very happy I got 0% on the boy girl as well.
Yeah.
Do not lewd the lollies.
No, don't
Golden
loot
rule.
the lollies. I've been training on enough in anime to be like,
It's the
no.
same with the 0% age player. So that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got 0% on my last quiz for both of those.
Although, if you wanted me to act like a geriatric old man, I could be into that.
See, I got 4% for that because I was like, I'll be down to role play certain things, but if you're wearing diapers, I'm going away from you.
To be fair, I think that percentage is purely based off of one question. Because there was literally
Probably.
like one question, like, "Are you into age play or something?"
Exactly.
And it's like if you did the like far left, I disagree. You're probably getting 0%.
Yeah, and so my test just basically tells me exactly what I know. It's like, I'm open to whatever. Like, if you want to try, as our grandma said, Richard, try everything once.
Try everything twice.
The first time you might not enjoy it. The second time
You
you'll
might,
figure it out.
you might have had a bad round the first time.
Yeah.
Try everything twice.
And you know what? That's kind of a policy for me. I'm like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I'll try that thing once.
Yeah.
And you know what? Especially in, go ahead. Especially in sexual nature, it's like, why not? Because the worst that can happen is that you don't like it. The best that can happen is maybe you found a new kink for yourself.
Well, I will go online right now, and I will. What's your address? I'm going to ship you a splorching.
Whoa.
right
Okay.
now. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
thank you.
So I'll go over my answers now, and I'm remembering what I did last time because, like I said, this is completely off.
Yeah.
So I got 80% vanilla. I remember that specifically, and it was followed by 40% dominant, and then 30% brat tamer, and then I think more or less the rest of this kind of aligns. I have 21% experimentalist.
Is this your your old test?
This is now, because I don't remember most of the rest other than the top 3.
So this is your new test that you're describing right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just those specific ones were more in line with what I remembered. Mm-hmm. Because of the surprising one being the brat tamer was 30%.
Yeah.
My wife laughed at that a lot. But then this is 21% experimentalist, 19% switch.
You got a large drop. Wait, what was your top 3?
I had 80% on this one.
Yeah, on that one.
96% vanilla.
And then what's your next couple?
21%.
Wow.
It dropped. That's why I'm like, this doesn't align as well because
Richard's just tired. That's what it is.
I think it's just I took the quiz too quickly and didn't read as much as I should have.
Ah.
That's why I was like, the old quiz makes more sense. Because I went from 80% to 40%.
You were not in a position like Colin was, where you feel like you need to impress somebody because you and your wife are just like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, then voyeur was kind of high, and then right after that was submissive. Most of the other more the rope stuff, that all ends up being too complicated for me. I'm fine with a simple. Do what I say.
I think a lot of that for me stems from a fear of not getting out of it, and I'm like,
all the work you have to put into it. I mean, then you're done. You get the post-nut clarity, and now you're wearing this crazy getup. You gotta take off your leather trousers.
Yeah,
and it's all stuck to your body because you're sweaty. It's a whole lot.
See, cosplay, I could be more down with. Pretending to do something, it's like, okay, well then you just take off the clothes, you save it for later. But all the leather needs to be washed and cleaned. And you don't want to just sit in the closet stinking up the joint for a week until you use it again. It's like,
I mean, unless it's a Batman outfit, then it's
Do you have to get that dry cleaned? Is that an awkward conversation for dry cleaner?
Well, it depends because it depends on how extreme the stuff is. Is it got embedded chain? Is it got all that extra stuff, or is it just the plain leather that you can then take all the accoutrement off of it?
Yeah, this is very interesting. Well,
wearing a nice little gimp suit.
Yeah.
I'd say don't take the mask to the cleaners.
Only take the mask to the cleaners. No. Are you Bane? Is this your Bane cosplay?
Yeah, I'm cosplaying Bane. Or it's like what I think what David Cross had a bit where he wears a gimp mask on a plane because he calls it his sleep mask.
Take off your clothes.
Oh man.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, we're all glad to hear you.
Fun conversation.
Yeah, if you made it to the end, good on you. That we really appreciate.
I applaud you.
And I just want you all to know that there's no judgment.
Yeah, no,
you like
never.
what you like.
Oh yeah,
and that's totally great.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that's why I like the words. I like the word unusual because it's just out of the norm. If you consider the norm missionary, like Colin was saying, and I would say almost nobody keeps it strictly missionary, and that's what's great is that everybody has their own unusual preferences and their own unusual likes, which makes you an individual, and it makes you who you are, and never feel ashamed of that because you like what you like, and there's other people in the world who like the same things. So
as long as it's safe.
Yeah, as long as it's safe and you got consent.
Yes. Life's too short to not do things that feel good.
Exactly. Life's too short not to nut what feels good.
So
Nut your nut.
Yeah, exactly.
Nut your nut, friends.
So as normal, rate, review, subscribe wherever you see us. We're starting to produce YouTube content, so go check us out at Generally Casual on YouTube. You might see beautiful Colin's face and finally know what he looks like as my brother and Corey.
Yeah.
Found out today.
We only heard the voice until today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sultry, dulcet tones.
Go share us. If you like our content, please go dive into other things. I think that's the fun thing about making a topic-based podcast is that you can go find what you like and listen to 45 minutes to an hour of it. Any other words that you would like to offer? Nope. It sounds like
Thanks, Colin.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Corey. That was right in time. Yeah, and go listen to our next week's episode. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be an exciting one.
No, we definitely know what it is.
Yeah, we absolutely, and you'll
It's
find out
coming.
next week.
It's going to be great.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, I don't know. Can you guys tell me?
We'll tell you next time. As always, keep it casual, stay classy, keep it classy, San Diego, and always get consent. Splosh it up, friends.